BBC Sussex, and it is now 7:28. A petition has been launched against plans which could see the downgrading of services at a post office in a Sussex village. The proposal would see Ditchling, full post office, become a local branch, meaning staff would not be able to accept cash deposits to bank accounts or take cheques for payments. There are concerns of the impact, especially on the elderly and people without their own transport. I'm joined now by the Postmaster, David Holmes, and Maria Caulfield, the prospective Parliamentary candidate for Lewis. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
David, first of all, so when did you hear about these proposed changes?
Well, it's been ongoing for over a year now, really. And first was a voluntary sort of arrangement, and then at the beginning of the year we heard that we were going to be offered the opportunity to be a post office local, and we didn't really think that was great for Ditchling, so we appealed to be a community branch, but this was turned down, and it's all went a bit quiet until sort of a couple of weeks ago, when we were contacted by the post office again saying that they want to push it through now, and we can sort of apply to be a post office local, or we can opt to leave the network.
And what's the pressure to become a post office local? I don't quite understand that. If you're happy doing what you're doing now, why do they want you to change what you're doing?
Okay, well, it's all about saving money for them, I suppose, Danny. The post office local model is a good model, but that's not one that works in Ditchling. It works in a bigger sort of town where they can maybe close the post office down, a standalone, and put it into something like a spa or a convenience store.
Yes.
And then the retail side of the business helps support the post office, but there's no sort of salary from the post office.
I see. So the things that people find really useful coming into your place, David, like being able to deposit cash or to pay cheques for their bills.
Yeah.
Those are the really useful things, but they will go, will they, if it becomes a local?
Well, I'm not sure exactly that depositing cash. Some cash deposits will go in for businesses, but we'll still be able to do others. But there are a number of services that won't be available, sort of buying premium bonds and other sort of paper-connected businesses.
Does this make you want to give it up, or are you going to carry on anyway?
Well, I don't want to give it up. I mean, it would be a terrible thing for the village. We've been there for a while, and people rely on us every day. We do a lot of other things in the village apart from just being a sort of commercial operation. And if we were forced into being a post office local, I think it'd be a slow death for the business.
Okay, stay there. Maria Caulfield, the Conservative PPEC for Lewis. Are you on David's side here?
I am, absolutely, and I do agree with his point that post office locals don't work in villages. I've been in East Dean, over the other side of the constituency, where their post office is a post office local, and it's caused all sorts of problems. We've got elderly residents who can't pay in bills, they can't send certain packages, and they have to travel all the way to Eastbourne if they want to do some of those things. And many of these are elderly people, they've got no transport of their own. So post office locals work well in big towns like Haywards Heath or Lewis, but in little villages they are the death of the post office, and they leave some elderly and vulnerable residents quite isolated.
Is it possible to change the post office's mind, though, when they've kind of made this proposal? Is it a foregone conclusion?
Well, I hope not, and we're going to do our very best to make sure that they do change their mind. And there's a petition in the post office at the moment which I've signed, and we're encouraging as many people as possible to pop in and sign that petition. And we're also going to be contacting the post office director, and Councillor Tom Jones, who's the councillor for Ditchling, is very much leading some of that work.
Maria Caulfield, thank you. David, final word with you as the postmaster. How long have you been doing that job, by the way, there?
We've been here about 18 years.
Okay.
My parents before me.
So you've got your feet under the table nicely.
Yeah.
If you lose those services from your post office, say people who live in Ditchling, where do they have to go for those services in the future? Is it all the way to Haywards Heath?
Well, Haywards Heath or Sussex.
Right, but that's a journey, isn't it?
Just
a
journey.
Do a little bit of business.
It's one that, yeah, it is that.
Okay.
I mean, we're not talking about a big deal of money to keep us going. It's a tiny amount of government money just to have a great facility in the village.
But when times are hard, every penny gets looked at, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose, yes. But I mean, when you look at the areas. You know, it costs far less to keep me going for a month than it does to house a family of asylum seekers or a couple of limos down the town hall.
OK, David, thank you very much. David Holmes, postmaster at Ditchling. What do you make of that? We did invite the post office onto the radio, but nobody was available. But they did give us this statement. The post office is currently in the midst of a major investment programme, the largest in the history of the post office. We're talking to all postmasters about modernising their branch. No decision has been made about what changes might be made at Ditchling. We're currently in discussion with the Ditchling postmaster, so it's too early to say if there will be change at this branch or what changes will take place. BBC Sussex 7:33.